Hi everyone, if you own XRP, you should listen carefully since this is a time you won't want to miss. We are dealing with a significant issue that is essentially securing XRP's future. What blows my head is this: we're dealing with something so significant that it wouldn't require anything else. If this were the only function of XRP, it might be carried by this alone. I keep thinking about this. A cryptocurrency has the basis to survive once it is widely adopted, even if users are just utilizing it for one particular purpose. There is definitely much more going on with XRP. The utility is everywhere, but what if we took away everything but this? It would endure. What precisely am I excited about? Then, tokenizing assets in the real world. Here, we're especially concentrating on financial assets, but take a moment to consider it. The category of real-world asset tokenization is significant enough to sustain XRP's importance for many years to come. Let's discuss the details. Right now, those headlines are appearing on your screen. Yesterday, Ripple closed a $1.25 billion deal, and we're discussing the tokenization of a staggering amount of financial assets. The yearly volume is more than $3 trillion. I will guide you through the entire process, but first let me explain my objective. I want everyone who is watching to comprehend what is truly taking place here and why this is a game changer. I most likely made a mistake if after watching this video you're not much more enthusiastic about XRP than you were before. Before we continue, let me state up front that I'm not an expert in finance. Absolutely no financial experience. Please don't buy or sell anything just because I'm talking about it. Nothing I say here is financial advice. Alright, so there are no surprises here, folks. For months we have been observing this development. Rewind to April 8th when this story was broadcast on CNBC. Prime broker Hidden Road will be acquired by cryptocurrency company Ripple for $1.25 billion. The first domino was that, time travel to yesterday, when Yahoo Finance released a story about BN Crypto with a title that essentially validates everything. Amid acquisition streaks, Ripple closes a $1.25 billion Hidden Road deal. Before I delve into the details of what this really means, you should listen to what Garlinghouse recently said. The thing about XRP is this: it has consistently served as the cornerstone of Ripple's whole business. We understand that. However, Garlinghouse recently stated it in the clearest conceivable way on record. I'm speaking quite clearly. No corporate jargon, not at all like the well-crafted remarks he or any other member of the leadership team typically makes. This time, the energy was entirely different. He's out here essentially confirming what I've been telling you for a long time, but now he's not holding back and it's coming directly from the source. Just the facts, no corporate jargon barrier. Do you want evidence? His post from yesterday afternoon has it right there. Garlinghouse wrote exactly this when the CEO of Ripple announced this arrangement. Since Hidden Road, which was rebranded Ripple Prime, closed today, Ripple has announced 5 significant acquisitions in the last 2 years. Midico in 2023, Standard Custody in 2024, Rail in August, and G Treasury last week. I want to remind everyone that XRP is at the core of everything as we keep developing solutions to enable the Internet of Value. People are locked in by Ripple. As a result, he simply made it public. The problem is that Ripple has a far larger amount of XRP than anyone else on the earth. We're talking a great deal, not just a little bit extra. Guess who will suffer the most if this doesn't work out? That's right. Them. This implies that XRP is of course at the heart of everything that occurs at that business. To be honest, we benefit greatly from every action they take and every plan they devise, because our goals are essentially their goals when you think about it. Here everyone is rowing in the same direction. It's actually why I recall watching the entire debate and thinking the same way you probably did in 2017, when all these ardent Bitcoin purists were yelling that they wouldn't touch XRP, since Ripple controlled so much of the supply. Hold on. Do you really believe that's a bad thing? I asked myself, well, I'll give you that we might suffer if they suddenly decide to do something utterly foolish. But consider the real circumstances here. In situations where so much is at stake, what is your instinct? You end up being the biggest evangelist for all things XRP. You're out there doing everything, building, defending, advertising, etc. In 2017, I witnessed the formation of that image, and I'm fairly certain that's how you guys interpreted the circumstances as well. Not everybody understood that reasoning, but guess what? We did it perfectly. Ripple began operations in 2012. At this moment, we have observed their operations for more than 13 years. Take a look at the relationships and projects they have started. There's no question about it now. It is impossible for anyone to rationally dispute this. The XRP ecosystem gains greatly from anything they come into contact with. The record is self-explanatory. A post was recently published by Michael Arrington. Are you familiar with Michael Arrington? The Arrington Capital guy, the founder of TechCrunch, complete fan of XRP, incidentally. The problem is that he is genuinely friends with Brad Garlinghouse. Here he is, overseeing a hedge fund. Now pay attention to this section. His hedge firm works with Hidden Road, which just adopted the slick new moniker Ripple Prime, and I'm going to explain in detail why holders of XRP should be concerned. So take a seat, relax, and I'll walk you through the entire story, piece by piece. Allow me to demonstrate what Michael Arrington truly said regarding this matter. He posted yesterday, and you know what? Here are the man's facts. We are discussing a real hedge fund organization that is a Ripple user. Specifically, they're employing Ripple Prime. Everything he said has been confirmed to be true. I want to explain in detail why this whole issue is so significant. Yes, yesterday was the official launch date of this. Ripple proceeded to finalize their agreement to purchase Hidden Road, a prime broker. The majority of people in the cryptocurrency industry probably don't understand what a prime broker performs, so I'll take a moment to explain it to you. In any case, they seized it and combined it with this new division of their business. It is being marketed as Ripple Prime, the first cryptocurrency business to truly own and run a worldwide prime broker that deals with a variety of asset classes is Ripple. What exactly does that mean? Imagine this. Large institutions can use it as a single platform to trade, obtain funding when necessary, and manage all of their cryptocurrency clearing needs. Oh, and here's the crazy part. They are also capable of doing the same thing for traditional finance assets from the past. This is when things start to get interesting. According to Ripple, the company has already tripled in size. Indeed, that has been the case ever since they announced that they would purchase it. What's the deal? That is now formally finished. However, there's something important to note here. They're being a little evasive about what they measured when they're thrown about tripled. People are attempting to make connections and guess, which is understandable. For example, are we discussing a hypothetical increase in volume from $3 trillion to $9 trillion annually? It's still unclear to me whether that's what happened or not. Or is there something entirely different that they're counting? For example, what if the number of customers increased thrice, but the new customers were much smaller businesses? In that case, the volume might have just slightly increased from 3 trillion to about 3.2 trillion. Now, I'm just speculating, but this is what I'm trying to say. We don't know exactly what tripled. Therefore, even if this statement is fantastic, I ask us to remain aware of what has been confirmed. Let's avoid becoming overly excited and making unsupportable claims. The figure of $9 trillion, on that one we don't know anything. Now, if it turns out to be true, it would be amazing. It is undoubtedly within the realm of possible outcomes. Here's why though, I'm not entirely convinced. Growing your business by 300% in such a short period of time. Man, we haven't even spoken since April. My head would be melting right now, if that was indeed what happened. I would be dumbfounded by that. That's one of the reasons I'm thinking they might be emphasizing a different number. But to be honest, this is outstanding regardless of the measure we're talking about. Okay, now allow me to explain. What does a premier broking firm like Hidden Road actually do? Yes, they now operate under the name Ripple Prime, but what was their entire business plan prior to Ripple's acquisition? Why were the services provided by Hidden Road so crucial in the first place? Ripple Prime is not what they are. What then caused hedge funds to go crazy over this? Well, their entire clientele consisted of hedge funds, which were really their bread and butter. I'll explain this to you. Consider a hedge fund that want to invest $100 million in Bitcoin futures. It could be anything really, but let's stay with Bitcoin futures that are dispersed throughout several exchanges. Yes, conventional financial products also function. However, for the purposes of this discussion, consider derivatives from Binance, CME, and Coinbase. Merely